Hello. I made a video yesterday in French about a French psychiatrist and the whole institution of psychotherapy, I guess medicine also in France. And I want to say sort of the same thing about what's going on in the English speaking world. So my friend Rolandas sent me a video a couple weeks ago, and it's about two doctors giving a presentation on deep brain stimulation. And yeah, that's I'm happy because this gives me an opportunity to say what I want to say about this. It's I heard this from Marshall Rosenberg, who created nonviolent communication, and yeah, it really makes sense to me that when I see something that I like, I'm grateful to the people who do those things, and when I see something that I think is really not helping for moving the world in the direction I would like it to move, more happiness for everyone, then I think it's important to also say that. This isn't about being nice. It's really about saying what I believe is going to help. So just like with the Dalai Lama video, I see this person doing something that I think doesn't help, so I say it. And same with Stéphane Molyneux, same with the doctor in the French video, and same with these two doctors here. So yeah, what I'm appalled about is the part of the video where they show a woman who was suffering from what they call Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder. The other parts of the video where they first show a woman with multiple sclerosis, and how with deep brain stimulation she is very happy that she doesn't shake as much anymore, which was making her life really difficult. I admire them for achieving this. I think it's wonderful that they are able to help people this way. And also about the young man at the end of that video, who suffers from some other condition where he doesn't have control over his movements. But the middle part, about the woman with obsessive-compulsive disorder, because they say that she asked them. She came to them for help, and as if that absolves them of the responsibility to check whether this useful tool that they have is really the right approach to help this person. I don't think it does. And maybe they're relying on people outside their specialties to have checked before whether those other modalities could do something for this person. And that sort of makes sense. I mean, I understand that you want to defer to people with greater knowledge in their own specialty, sure. But I think there's a problem here, because before messing with somebody's brain, which you're opening up their skull, you're inserting electrodes in there, deep into the brain. There's potential for doing damage, and why you do that when it is possible to help people with so-called OCD without doing all this, without these risks. So that's what I want to do with this video. Let those two doctors know that there are other ways of helping people with so-called OCD and depression as well. They seem to think everything is a brain malfunction. That's what they say. And I doubt that's true. Because look, I had the same so-called obsessive-compulsive disorder, the same thing they say that Howard Hughes died from, and that this woman had, and Howie Mandel also has or had. I don't know if he's cured. I talk about that in my other videos. And so for me, it was the sort of the same way as for this woman. It became much worse after my children were born, and then even worse a little bit after that, and for good reason. There's a good explanation for why these things happen. It's not just brain malfunction. So if you're interested in all the details, there's my other videos about this, exactly what I went through and what helped me, etc. But I'm here today. I don't have the symptoms that I used to have, like not wanting anybody in the house without them taking off their clothes from outside, changing into clothes that I considered clean enough, washing their hands, all this sort of stuff. And myself, I would wash my hands, wash my phone, wipe it with alcohol coming back from outside. It was making life really difficult for my children and for my ex-wife, and that's a big reason for why she left also and took them away. So I had that, and I didn't have to have my skull opened and stuff inserted in my brain to get better. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I'm hesitating where to go more into details. Maybe I can say a little bit more. What it came from for me was that when I was a child, my father would repeatedly mention the street children. We lived in Tehran, in Iran. And there were a lot of these children in the street, and he would say that they're dirty, and they're he was saying to us children that you shouldn't play with these children because it's bad for you. You're going to become like them or something like that. So I was really scared because. Again, like I say in my other videos, my dad would get into rages, and I was so afraid, thinking he was losing control and he might kill me. He was so angry, he might hit me too hard. So it was that. It was this fear I had of possibly becoming like those children. And then for the child I was, that meant being kicked out of the house, and I was 7, maybe. That meant dying in the street. The way I saw that at the time. So I was very afraid of that. But for other reasons, I shut that fear out of my awareness for many, many years, until last year. And so what this fear was manifesting as was this fear of contamination. I was worried for my children after they were born that they might die if something bad got to her. It wasn't clear to me that this something bad wasn't some germs or something like that. It was like the what my dad thought these children in the street had that I could catch. And once I got clear that this is where my fear really came from, it started going away. And later on today, my son is going to be here with his girlfriend and a friend that he's invited for 3 or 4 days that I haven't seen before. They're going to be in the house, playing everywhere. They're 17. They're not going to be changing their clothes. They're going to be sleeping here. They're going to be in the kitchen everywhere, and not bothered by that anymore. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Depression, so-called obsessive-compulsive disorder, and a lot of these other psychological and psychosomatic and many other illnesses. In my other videos I talk also about what was making my fingers swell so much that I couldn't bend them anymore, or they would crack, the skin would crack and bleed. All of this has roots in what happened in our childhood, and it's much safer and much more effective as well to address that with talk therapy. You don't have to go in and mess with people's brains, risk doing real damage there. Thanks for watching.